Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. Welcome to week 1 of Devtoberfest 2025, where our focus is on CAP. I am your host Amar, and today's session is all about CAP documentation offering, aka Capire. In this session, we will explore how to work with CAP sample projects, provide a feedback, and even contribute directly to improve the Capire documentation. I am very happy to welcome to our guest speakers Rene and Mehdi, who will be sharing their insight about this topic. So let's get started. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Mahdi, and I am going to begin this presentation where we talk about CAP's documentation offering, which is mostly known as capire. And before I dig deep into the topics, I wanted to talk about open source at CAP a little bit. And as you might know, capire has a lot of open source parts of it, which is not just the documentation. And most of them, you could find them on the community page where you can find the many plugins that are available for as open source parts. And for this is the repository, the CapJS community page. And here are all the popular repositories, but there are a lot more. And you can find the plugins that you might have worked with and find out more if you wanted to. We always add more features to work with the community, and it doesn't have to, you don't have to go on GitHub, create an account, and make pull requests. There's always new features that we try to help you write from our documentation. And one of the features that we've added is the configuration options. And as you might know, there's always a lot of config files, and so it's not always easy to find the correct options. And sometimes you can have a config in many places. So our tools team really helped us solve this problem with a feature that, for example, in this case, what if you are a Java user and you're looking at the release notes for generic exception handling? And usually you used to get a big string like this. And if you are an experienced user, you might know exactly where you want to add this. But now with the config option, which has been available for some time, you can see like how you would add it to the different places. If you wanted it to add it to the application.yml file in your project, this would be the path for it. Instead, if you wanted to have it as a system property, you could add it in this way. And this might be something that is just one of the features that is possible thanks to our integration with some of the tools, which are also part of the community that you could see, which also includes the tools for Visual Studio Code and so on. You might have some feedback for all of these, what we talk about right now, and we will share with you how you could provide feedback, because feedback is very important for us to decide what we do to improve the documentation. So please feel free to share your thoughts, and it's always helpful for us if we have especially detailed feedback. So it's not generic, and we have an action point. And if you give us your feedback as issues, then we also can have a conversation and find what you need. And now going to the documentation. The documentation for CAP is in this repository on github.com, and it's been open source for a while. And you can see that it's very active. So when we made the open source project, the things that we wanted to share with the community here was not just the open source code, but also giving the opportunity for community to not only give feedback, but you can also give us contributions. And it has been very popular. These are just the statistics for the last 14 days. So in the last 2 weeks, you could see that there's been a lot of people who have been engaging with the community. A lot of them are also people from the Capire team. So the developers working on Cap also contribute to the same repository as you would if you ever were to contribute here. And you can see that the popularity of it started from when it was open source, and it's going steady. It's not a meteoric rise. We don't have a lot of stars, but we have enough engagement with the community right now, but it would be always good to have more. So with a lot of the code being open source, we can see the activity of how the code has grown while it has been open source. And if you look at the changes, how many lines are added and deleted, you can see that most of the activity is happening outside. So this is how the documentation gets made. It's all being done in the open. And if you look at the top contributors, although you'll see that most of the top ones are people who are working at SAP in the CAP teams, you can see in the top developers that there are people who are not. We have DJ Adams as one of our top contributors, and we also have other people here who are not just CAP developers. So if you found some small mistake, like something that hasn't been covered, or if you wanted to get some contributions, and you can do so, and it will be taken into account. You can be one of the contributors. There are always more contributors who are coming into Capire every day, and we're happy to see these changes. And it's always better for us to take community contributions through pull requests or issues, because we can have a dialogue, and we can have questions. If we have questions, we can get feedback. Now, that was my part. Thank you. And I will hand it over to my colleague, Renee, who will continue with his part now.
Thank you for having us at Devtoberfest again. My name is Renee. I'm one of the technical writers for Capire, and I have the pleasure to show you some of the updates around Capire. You might have noticed in the August release that we announced a new place for our documentation and for our samples. So we have now a new org on GitHub and moved everything there. The org is called Capire, so everything that is around Capire, around learning, around samples, you can find it there. It's your one-stop shop, and has several advantages for us and for you. For example, we have now the possibility to have every sample as its own standalone sample, and we can reuse those samples. So it's not this mono repo setup that we used to have before. We have single applications that are then bundled together, for example, in the bookstore application in a composite app. You can consume those then through the GitHub package and package repository using the npm modules there. What also is very nice for us is that we can show things that we develop for you also in our sample repositories now. For example, the GitHub Actions workflows that we announced. Let me quickly switch to the July release. You can now add GitHub Actions to your project using the CDS add facility. And those workflows are also run in this new setup in the Capire org. that's linked from there. You can find it here and use it for yourself for your integration scenarios. So another thing that we enabled now is the discussions. We were asked for that quite some time, and now we did enable that. You see that it's already in use without having it announced very prominently. And also, you see a possible bug is already fixed and about to be shipped. So engage here, and we're looking forward to your contributions also on the discussions end of this repository or this organization that in that regard. So why is it important or good to have docs and samples together at one place? I prepared here one folder called Devtoberfest, and I cloned the bookshop, the bookstore, and the docs repository in it. So now if you want to use the documentation also locally in airplane mode, you're traveling, you're not having access to Cap Cloud Zap, you can start it yourself locally with npm run. If you do it for the first time, you do npm run setup. I did that already. And afterwards, you can just use npm run start, being in the right folder, of course. npm run start in the docs folder. As soon as it started, you can use the nice shortcut. And just press O on your keyboard. Then this fires up the local capire. And we want to look at the deployment guide to Cloud Foundry. We want to go through that. We want to have an app deployed. We don't have our own app. We just want to play around with it. So we are going to use the bookshop application for that. We're not using the bookstore to avoid package consumption right now, to just do it the easy way. So we are going into the bookshop folder and are following the guide. All the prerequisites we already fulfill. We've done that before, the different tools that you need. And then we can just go ahead and add HANA configuration. Done. We add authorization. Done. We add MTA, deployment configuration. And we add an standalone app router. I'm not going into the details of those commands, what they do to your project, because it's not about what they do. It's just to show how quickly and easy you can just stay in one IDE using all the samples that you want to use with the documentation you want to use, and just go ahead. So I already logged in and I'm executing CDS up to deploy my app to the cloud. This is how nicely it integrates, and having those samples closely together makes it easy and fast to try things out that you find in the documentation using the sample you want. If you want to have it more complex, use the box store, and then you need to set up the package manager. You need to set it up with the right personal access token with the packages read rights, and that's basically it. In the bookstore itself, you will then find an npm-rc JSON that defines the registry for capire scope modules, and then you're basically ready to go. It works quite nice. All right. That's about the capire org, the new one. The other topic I want to talk about is giving feedback to CAP documentation, and Amar also introduced the option to contribute. This is also one part of giving feedback. At least I grouped it like that in my blog post I wrote a few weeks back. And I want to take the chance here to walk you through those options in Capay. So at the bottom of each page, you have this "Was this page helpful?" section. And if you click on that, you get the option to send us a message, what you liked or disliked about that page. But you have to be aware that we can't get back to you in that way. This is anonymous. We just see the feedback and we can, of course, act on that, but you won't get any feedback, or we can't ask you back if there's something we want to clarify. If you want to be in a closer loop with us, you can just press on your keyboard. Now the focus is there. You can press E on your keyboard to go into edit mode, and that will direct you to that very file and let you do some changes. If you find a typo, some small changes you just can and want to fix right away, you can do that. And in case you didn't want to contribute, fix, you are then anyways in the right repository to create an issue from here. And we are happy to engage through that channel as well, work on the topics, and yeah, that helps us very much to know what is important to you. If you find something missing, if you find something not working, those are the things that are really important. Also important to note, we don't offer general CAP support in that repository. It's really only about documentation, but anything that is related to documentation, get in touch with us. Another way to get in touch with us, to leave us some feedback, is the survey we have here at the top of the page. Much more time consuming in that sense, because it asks you, oh, that was the wrong button. It's the local preview, and there the button is not available. Here we have that button. There you tell us a little bit about yourself, and a little bit about how you use CAP. So it's much more things that you can let us know, and to know about the situations that you're in, and the problems that you have, and yeah, helps us to understand our customers better. So this is the other option. Again, anonymous. We can't get back to you on any written feedback there, but we are happy to take everything that you send us into account. All right. Those are the main things that we have, how you can get in touch with us. And here I wanted to quickly use this overview because I like that very much. When to use what. So the page widget that I showed you first is really a quick way to give us feedback. And it's only a thing you should use if you don't want or need to track the response. The survey is much more elaborate, still anonymous, but is through this detailed questionnaire much more tailored towards influencing also our documentation strategy. GitHub issues, you're all familiar with those things to collaborate. You can do much more in that. We can discuss changes and edit this page. Yeah, you can create your pull request, fork the repository, and contribute yourself. Of course, we react to each of those ways. We monitor those, we discuss the results and take actions on that. And well, we probably could improve and we plan to improve is to report back on what we've done. So watch out in the upcoming release notes in the coming month, where we will then also announce the changes there. Also, something that I want to briefly mention is at Recap, we heard quite some time that you want to get an overview what actually changed also in Capay. So in our release notes each month, we will also try to include a brief overview of which sections have been edited, what has changed. We're trying to not do it too extensive, but so that you get an idea where you can look for new information, changed information. So that's something you can be on the lookout for. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much for taking part in that session, and enjoy Devtoberfest. Thank you very much.